Don't get too excited by that second quarter GDP number. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The economy grew at a slightly faster pace than expected in the second quarter. Observers are happily reviewing prior predictions of a recession. Optimists hope that maybe next year the central bank will start bringing down short-term interest rates. Unfortunately, you shouldn't binge on those summertime margaritas. Here's why. The Fed still believes that prosperity causes inflation rather than a weak dollar. Fed head Jerome Powell doesn't want to repeat what he mistakenly thinks were the lessons of the terrible inflation of the 1970s. Back then, the Fed would induce an economic slowdown. Pace of price increases would drop sharply. The Fed would then ease up too early, and inflation would come back worse than ever. Only with the horrific recession of 1981-82 was the inflationary beast truly slain. So, Powell will squeeze some more until he sees a real weakening in the labor markets. Of course, Powell has misread what happened 40 years ago. What stopped the great inflation was the Fed finally ceasing to weaken the dollar. That effort was helped mightily by President Reagan's pro-growth tax cuts, deregulation, and non-military spending restraint. The Biden administration is doing the exact opposite of what Reagan did. The economy today, while remarkably resilient, still faces headwinds, such as growing consumer indebtedness, the rising cost of servicing debts because of higher interest rates, and less bank lending thanks to more regulation. But there is an immensely more ominous factor that involves the economy and indeed our security. What is truly worrisome is that the current government and its extreme supporters are determined to remake our economy in the image of socialist Europe. That kind of transformation would profoundly change the country and the world for the worse. Growth in most of Europe is anemic. American-style entrepreneurship is a rarity. High-tech innovation and development is almost non-existent. The ethos is risk avoidance, reflected in stultifying regulations. Taxes are sky high. The Biden administration and the far left that now controls much of the federal bureaucracy are determined to drastically change our economy from the open, free market, creative, opportunity-rich system it's been since before our independence to a cautious, risk-averse, work-averse culture that fears change and seeks more government benefits. A mood of dependence replaces the spirit of independence. These modern-day socialists in Washington and various blue states push extensive, intrusive rules to control what businesses can and cannot do. The most obvious example is Biden's war against fossil fuels. This attempt to Europeanize our economy is bearing poisonous fruit. Most of the new jobs created last month came from government, not the private sector. The free world depends on a strong, vibrant U.S. that has the power and leadership to counter today's authoritarian aggressors, China, Russia, and Iran. The socialist onslaught must be beaten back in the 2024 elections. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions. I look forward to being with you soon again.